Hey Vamsi, this line introduces the topic, the _get_config function within the scikit-learn library. It's like saying, let's talk about this cool tool in scikit-learn. This function is all about accessing scikit-learn's settings. Think of it as a window into scikit-learn's inner workings. So, this statement claims that _get_config returns a dictionary, a way of organizing data in key-value pairs. This is true. The dictionary contains the global settings of scikit-learn. Think of a dictionary as a cookbook. Each key is a recipe name, setting, and the value is the recipe, settings value. This statement says you use a different function, _set_config, to actually change those scikit-learn settings. This is also true. _get_config, just lets you see the settings. _set_config, lets you change them. It's like reading a cookbook versus actually cooking a recipe. This one is a bit tricky. It says that if you change the dictionary you got from _get_config, you're also changing scikit-learn's settings. This is false. You're only changing a asterisk copy of the settings, not the original settings themselves. It's like having a photocopy of a recipe. Changing the photocopy doesn't alter the original. This suggests that _get_config is mainly for debugging. While helpful for debugging, it's not its only purpose. It's also used for inspecting settings in general. So, while partially true, it's not the whole story. This function is like a window into the scikit-learn settings. It gives you a snapshot of the current configuration. Think of it as a picture of the control panel, not the control panel itself. The output of is a dictionary. A dictionary is a structured way to store information, a bit like a list of labeled boxes. Each label, key, points to some setting, value, within the scikit-learn system. For example, one key might point to the number of threads used for parallel processing, while another could indicate the default value for a particular machine learning parameter. So, this dictionary is a structured summary of the global scikit-learn configuration settings. These are the overarching settings that affect how scikit-learn behaves. It's not individual settings for each model you create, but rather settings that apply across all your scikit-learn processes. Think of it as the operating system for your scikit-learn environment. This is what lets you peek it, to see how things are set up globally. The settings dictate how many processors the library uses for calculations, or which solver it employs by default for specific algorithms, etc. What you see here influences various aspects of algorithms' performance, but can also be a great help in debugging to ensure that the system behaves as you expect. This statement is absolutely correct. Indeed provides you with a dictionary filled with the current global scikit-learn settings. It's a convenient way to access and view those configurations. Hey there, this function is like a window into the scikit-learn world. It gives you a snapshot, a dictionary, of all the current settings scikit-learn is using. Think of it as a report card of the configuration. Important detail: the dictionary gives you as a asterisk copy asterisk, not the original. This means you can look at it, analyze it, but making changes won't change scikit-learn's actual settings. It's like looking at a photo of a painting. You can't change the original painting by marking the photo. Now, if you want to change scikit-learn's settings, that's where it comes in. This function is how you actually modify the configuration. It's the tool to make changes, not just view them. It's like having the actual paintbrush to change the painting, not just the photo. Scikit-learn, a powerful library for machine learning in Python, has a global configuration. It determines how things like parallelization, memory usage, and other settings work. This configuration is important for efficiency and reproducibility. This line introduces the topic of scikit-learn's configuration and specifically mentions the _sklearn.get_config function. It sets the stage for understanding how to retrieve and interact with configuration settings. This is crucial for the problem, as the entire quiz focuses on understanding this function. This line poses the quiz question. It's the central point, around which all other information revolves. Understanding this question is essential to properly analyzing the subsequent information and explanations. This option describes one potential function of sklearn.get_config. It suggests that the function returns a data structure, dictionary, holding various global settings of scikit-learn. Later explanations will clarify if this is correct or not. Here, another potential function is offered. The key point is whether direct modification of the returned dictionary impacts the actual configuration. We need to investigate if the returned dictionary is just a copy or a direct reference to the configuration. This option introduces a related function, sklearn.set_config, which might be used to adjust settings. This suggests an interplay between the two functions. Does getting and setting configurations work together smoothly? This option provides a possible use case, focusing on debugging. It suggests that the function aids in checking the scikit-learn settings. Is debugging the primary, or perhaps just a secondary, application? This scikit-learn function retrieves the current global configuration settings for the library. Think of it as taking a snapshot of the current settings. It's like looking at a control panel, seeing what the current values are, but you can't directly change them through this panel. This is crucial because this function is read-only. The function's output is a Python dictionary. This dictionary contains key-value pairs, representing different configuration options, and their current values within scikit-learn. For instance, you might find settings related to parallelism or memory allocation. It provides a structured way to view all these settings together. These are the settings that affect how scikit-learn operates globally. Think of these as the overall parameters that influence the behavior of the entire library. These might include settings for parallel processing, memory usage limits, or other library-wide settings that can impact performance. A key characteristic of sklearn.get_config is that it offers a read-only view of the configuration. Any modifications you make to the dictionary returned by this function will not affect the actual scikit-learn configuration. It's like looking at a photo of a painting. You can't change the original painting by altering the photo. To actually change the scikit-learn configuration settings, you need to use a different function, sklearn.set_config. This function allows you to modify the global configuration settings, and then those changes will be reflected in how scikit-learn behaves. This is the counterpart to sklearn.get_config. It's your way to make changes to those settings you just examined. This function permits changes to scikit-learn's internal settings. Unlike sklearn.get_config, this function allows you to set new values for the configuration parameters, thus altering how scikit-learn operates. Think of it as actually making adjustments to the control panel rather than just viewing its current state. This describes the overall theme, which is interaction with scikit-learn configuration. This covers both retrieving, using sklearn.get_config, and modifying, using sklearn.set_config, the settings. Understanding these two functions is key to mastering scikit-learn's configuration aspects.